You're not living the same year for the 10th time. You're living the same identity. The scenery changes, the names of the people change, but the script stays the same because the vibration remains unchanged. The problem has never been your willpower. The problem is that your body still feels safer in scarcity than in abundance. It still feels more at home in the pain it knows than in the peace it dreams of but fears to receive. And meanwhile, you keep trying to manifest a new future with a nervous system stuck in the past. You visualize, you affirm, you wish, and you get frustrated because the field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you're broadcasting when you're not even trying. This is the truth no one told you. You don't manifest from the mind. You manifest from the silent frequency your body emits on autopilot, and that's why you keep getting stuck on the same timeline. Not because you lack potential, but because you're repeating the same vibration too often. In this video, you'll discover what the invisible loop is that keeps your reality locked, and how to shift timelines without breaking your body in the process. No forcing, no pretending, no losing your peace. This isn't just another mindset shift video. It's an energetic recalibration. It's a vibrational mirror. It's the point where you choose to stop repeating the old and collapse the new. So if something inside you already felt this calling, subscribe to the channel now, turn on the notifications, and let this journey begin within you before it begins out there. To begin, let's understand the invisible loop, why your reality keeps repeating. Some people spend the whole year thinking they're evolving, when in fact they're just spinning in circles. The settings change, the names change, but the essence stays the same. Behind it all, there's an invisible loop, not of time, but of identity. The person doesn't repeat the calendar, they repeat the pattern carried in the body. He clearly remembers a time when everything seemed to circle back to the same place. Different relationships, but the same arguments. New jobs, but the same Sunday night frustration. He used to think the problem was the outside world until he realized the script was already written inside him. The body moves before the mind. Even when someone thinks differently, if their nervous system doesn't feel safe in that new frequency, they sabotage. Not because they're weak, but because the body believes repetition equals survival. There's a subtle law behind all this, the law of vibrational repetition. Whatever your nervous system considers safe, it will try to recreate, not because it's good, but because it's familiar. This applies to joy, but also to chaos. It's like the body saying, I know how to survive here, so let's stay. Think of it like an autocorrect system. You start typing a new sentence, but the system insists on pulling in the same old words. You want to write a new story, but it finishes your thoughts with what you've always told yourself. And what's most surprising is, most people believe they're manifesting from the conscious mind. But real manifestation happens when no one is trying to manifest. It comes from the signal someone broadcasts on autopilot, the one that pulses when no one is watching. That's the moment many get frustrated with their vision board. They make lists, write affirmations, visualize for 5 minutes, but spend the rest of the day sending out contradictory signals. They say they want peace, but live in reactivity, say they want love, but distrust any form of affection. Manifestation doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what your body believes, and the body believes in what it sees every day, in your habits, your tone of voice, your recurring thoughts. That's the code the field decodes. He remembers a phase where he'd say, "This is it," but deep down an echo whispered, "It's going to go wrong again." That echo didn't come from the rational mind. It came from a system that associated success with pain, rejection, or abandonment. So even without wanting to, he created small setbacks. It's like walking through a house with invisible sensors. You try to enter through a new door, but the alarm goes off because the system doesn't recognize that path as safe. Yelling at the alarm won't help. You need to reprogram the system. And that reprogramming begins with awareness. It starts when you observe the loop without guilt, without rushing, and understand that it's not against you. It's only trying to protect an older version, but one that now might just be too small for who you're becoming. And that's where the next step begins. If everything is frequency, what happens when you change the signal? Could it be that there are other realities just waiting for a new click. Other versions of you, other possible paths, like an infinite catalogue of choices. And now we move on to quantum field, many timelines, one dominant signal. There's something powerful that almost no one notices. The reality a person lives today is just one episode among thousands available in the quantum field, like a spiritual Netflix. All versions of them exist, but they only watch the one their frequency clicks play on. The quantum field doesn't work through worthiness, effort, or desperation. It works through resonance. The frequency you hold deep inside is the remote control of your existence. The question is never, what do I want? But, what am I still compatible with? Quantum jumping is misunderstood by many. It's not about vanishing from your room and showing up in a mansion. It's about shifting your consciousness, your inner gaze, your energetic identity, until your external life naturally begins to reflect it. Matter only follows the field. Think of life as an old radio. Your dream might be on station 102.3, but you're still tuned to 88.5, where everything feels confusing and limited. Not because 102.3 doesn't exist, but because you haven't learned to turn the dial of consciousness yet. And turning that dial isn't about forcing it. It's about listening, adjusting your presence and sustaining a new kind of inner silence, the kind of silence that stops fighting what is and begins to resonate with what could be. He remembers when his reality felt stuck. Nothing flowed, everything was scarce, and the world felt deaf. Until one day he stopped trying to yell at the field and started listening to what he was tuned into. And right there he saw, it wasn't life that was blocked. It was the signal. Many people say they want change, but live in a loop of watching the same episode. Same script, same triggers, same characters in disguise. It's as if they said, I want a different ending, but press play on the same chapter every day. And the field, ever obedient, delivers exactly that. Want to change the episode? Change the signal. And that signal isn't what you pretend on social media. It's what vibrates when you're alone. It's the frequency of your body in silence. A simple practice helps bring this into focus. If your life were a series, what would the current episode be called? And what would be the title of the one you want to live? That question isn't just poetic. It reveals the leap. It shows the shift between the timeline you're on and the one you desire. This channel change is subtle. Sometimes it starts with a new background song, with a small decision, a thought you refuse to repeat. It's like turning your gaze toward a new window, even if the scenery hasn't fully formed yet. That's what a quantum shift is. It's not about forcing a new reality to happen. It's about becoming available for it by changing the program your inner antenna transmits. The right reality only answers to the right signal. And the most beautiful thing is, the more you sustain that new signal, the more the old one begins to lose its power. And then comes the turning point. That moment when the identity you want to live asks to be chosen. And so we move on to identity level choice, the moment your timeline really changes. There's a moment in life when everything changes, and it doesn't happen when the money comes in, when love arrives, or when doors finally open. It happens before. It happens in the invisible, in the moment when a person chooses who they are, before having any proof. The biggest quantum leap doesn't come from the results, but from identity. It's when the person says internally, from today on, I am this, even if their life still reflects none of it. It's the step that seems like madness, but creates the new timeline. He remembers exactly the day he made that decision. It was an ordinary moment, no divine sign, no sudden enlightenment, but something inside him realigned. He decided he was a full-time creator, long before he had any results, and that silent decision began rearranging everything around him. This kind of choice isn't a wish. It isn't hope, it's a cut. An inner rupture with the old version. It's like closing the door to your house and knowing you're not going back. Think of it like a bridge. You cross it, and instead of looking back, you let it burn as energetically. It's not destruction. It's total commitment to what's being born. And the most curious part is that when this choice happens, often nothing seems to change on the surface. The same challenges, the same routine, the same numbers. But internally, something has already ceased to exist. the old identity starts to lose ground. This is the famous identity sentence. From today on, I am the person who, and the rest of the sentence doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be true. It needs to carry the energy of what you are becoming. He shares that before this decision, he was constantly seeking validation, looking for signs from the universe, seeking guarantees, applause. But real change came when he stopped negotiating with the old self, when he stopped waiting for the world to believe first, and instead became the living proof of his own transformation. This is where many people freeze. They want to change but keep one foot in each identity. They want abundance but act out of fear. They want full love but keep replying to fragile messages at 2 a.m. They want freedom but continue silencing their own voice. Identity-level choice doesn't work with half measures. It doesn't match with some days yes, some days no. It asks for wholeness. It asks for a body aligned with the decision. It asks for presence in the new, as if the new were already home. And that's when the shift begins. Not when everything outside is different, but when you decide to be different. Reality only follows afterward, like an echo. And that echo will find you in the next chapter. And all of this is connected to your nervous system, the hidden gatekeeper of your quantum shift. There's something few people notice on the journey of change. It's not enough to think differently if your body still vibrates the same. You can affirm, I am prosperous 1,000 times, but if your nervous system is programmed for scarcity, it will pull everything back to the old normal. It's like trying to change the channel with a frozen remote. You press the right buttons, but nothing changes on the screen because there's an invisible block still holding the old signal. That block has a name: conditioned nervous system. The body stores memories, but they're not just emotional memories, they are physical survival patterns. If someone has spent years surviving in tension, fear, scarcity, rejection, the body associates those sensations with safety, and any new frequency feels like a threat. He remembers a time when everything started going right, things were flowing, ideas were coming, the field was responding. But suddenly, without any clear reason, he began to delay, to doubt, to freeze, and chaos returned. In that moment, he thought it was bad luck. Then he thought it was spiritual sabotage. But the truth is, and his body wasn't used to peace. Abundance felt too unfamiliar to the system. So instinctively, the body tried to return to the known zone. It's like an emotional thermostat. Even if you raise the temperature, if the system is set to 64 degrees, it will turn on the internal air conditioning and pull you back, not out of malice, but out of habit. This is the greatest secret of self-sabotage. It's not a punishment. It's a form of protection for the previous identity. The body is trying to save you from something you say you want, but it still doesn't recognize as safe. And the most challenging part is that this process is unconscious. 95% of the patterns that govern someone's life aren't in conscious thoughts. They're in background sensations, in the impulses that arise before the decision. That's why just repeating affirmations doesn't change reality. You can say, I am worthy of love, but if your body trembles when someone genuinely comes close, that reveals what's still being transmitted to the field. And the field listens to the body more than to the words. He's seen intelligent, dedicated, spiritual people, but they would always freeze at the same point. And almost always it was because the nervous system hadn't been re-educated to hold the new frequency. The soul wanted it, but the body resisted. The key begins with observation, noticing the moments when everything is flowing, and suddenly, without any logical reason, discomfort arises, a desire to disappear, to procrastinate, to create drama. That's the body trying to restore the old self. And that changes when the person understands that the body is not the enemy. It's trying to help, but with outdated maps. So the invitation is to update the system with safe, repeated, embodied experiences until the new no longer feels dangerous. It feels familiar. To stop repeating the same reality, it's not enough to change the thought. You have to change your internal comfort level with the new frequency. Make the new feel like no big deal to the body. And that's where the secret of normalization begins. And now normalize the new, how to make your desired reality feel no big deal. There comes a point when the miracle stops feeling like a miracle and starts to feel just like Monday. Life truly changes when what was once extraordinary becomes ordinary in the body. That's what we call normalizing the new. Manifestation doesn't respond to what feels impossible. It responds to what already feels familiar. You don't attract what you desire in panic. You attract what you're able to live with ease, without force, without idolizing, without fear of losing. He remembers when earning $10,000 a month felt surreal. It seemed like something from another planet, but he noticed that as long as he treated it as unreachable, his body reacted with anxiety, not openness, and the vibrational field followed the body. That's when he learned a new way, teaching the body to get used to something before it arrives. Energetic anticipation is real, and the most powerful tool for that is conscious and repeated visualization. Not that anxious, forced kind of visualization, but the one that creates soft memories in the system, as if the body was remembering the future. He would start the day breathing, and simply saw himself living the life he wanted to live. He walked around the house as if the ideal home already existed, took his shower as if he were already in that other place, gave thanks for little things as if he were already there, and over time the body stopped resisting. It stopped finding it strange. It stopped sabotaging. A simple example, instead of visualizing winning the lottery, he visualized paying his bills calmly. Instead of imagining stages and applause, he visualized sincere messages arriving after a video. This type of practice teaches the body to consider that new frequency as possible, like a vibrational rehearsal before the play. It doesn't have to last hours, but it needs to be consistent and gentle. Another essential point is the point of reference. If you only hang around, even virtually, people who live what you're trying to avoid, your body will keep saying the new is dangerous. The field responds to your environment, internal and external. He began following people who were already living what he wanted, not to compare, but to familiarize himself. He observed how they spoke, what they valued, how they made decisions, and little by little, that lifestyle stopped feeling like too much and started to feel possible. It's like brushing your teeth. At first it felt strange, but after so much repetition it became habit, became routine. That's how it is with the new reality. He realized the content he consumed, the words he used, the environments he stepped into. Everything was a daily, energetic rehearsal, and that began shaping his field effortlessly. And once the field adjusts, reality begins to respond. Without needing to force anything, without needing to prove anything, life simply starts to mirror the new frequency. The key is to make the extraordinary ordinary, to make the impossible feel normal in the body, and then the universe doesn't need to deliver it with magic, because you've already become someone who lives it naturally. And when that state stabilizes, the old starts to feel strange. The chaos, the doubt, the scarcity, it stops being your home, and you find peace, where once there was only a dream. Stop feeding the old reality. Focus, stories, and emotional loops. Everything you repeat takes root in the field. Whether it's a phrase, a thought, an emotion, or a mindless outburst, repetition is the most powerful ritual of manifestation, and what keeps the old reality alive is the story you keep telling. He remembers when he desperately wanted to escape a difficult season, but spent the whole day saying things like, "Nothing changes, everything gets stuck for me, it's always like this." And without even realizing, that language was feeding the loop. The field interpreted it as instruction. It's like that classic mental game. Don't think about an elephant. It's impossible not to think. The mind focuses exactly on what it's trying to avoid. The same goes for phrases like, "I don't want to suffer anymore. I can't take being alone. I don't want to live like this." These statements seem harmless, but they anchor your consciousness to the frequency of what you're trying to release. You become emotionally tied to it, and the more you speak it, the more you vibrate it, and the more you vibrate it, the more you receive of it. That's why change starts with how you speak to life. Instead of "I don't want to live like this anymore," the body can start hearing, "I'm opening to a new experience. I'm choosing peace, abundance, lightness." It's vibrational literacy. Replace "I don't want" with "I choose." Replace "I'm tired of this" with "I'm becoming someone who lives differently." It's not about denying what is. It's about directing what you want to anchor. He's been through it many times. Days where everything felt stuck, and he would repeat phrases like "nothing works for me." It felt like venting, but it was actually ongoing vibrational programming. Until one day he caught himself asking, "What am I teaching the field when I keep saying this?" And that's when everything started to change, not through magic, but through loving awareness of the words he was feeding. This isn't about forced positivity, it's about clarity, about realizing that every phrase is a seed, and that repeating suffering can be just as dangerous as feeling it. Because the field doesn't judge, it only reflects. A simple practice helps with this. Pick one phrase you keep repeating in your head, the one that slips out during a conversation or at 3 a.m. Now write a new version of that phrase, one that supports what you actually want to live. For example, "I'm always late for everything." "I'm learning to live with more presence." "No one really sees me." "I'm surrounding myself with people who recognize my essence." "Money disappears from my hands." "I'm learning to multiply it with consciousness." You don't have to lie to yourself, you just have to reorient. And when you repeat this new phrase with truth, the body resists at first, but soon it starts to accept. And that new narrative becomes your inner soundtrack, until, without noticing, it becomes your reality. That's how you stop feeding the old, not by cutting everything all at once, but by choosing, phrase by phrase, thought by thought, emotion by emotion, where you place your attention. Focus is the food of reality. And once you master this language, the past starts to lose its grip. The old version begins to fade like a song you no longer sing, and then space opens for the new to find you. And with that, we need to understand inspired action. When the how starts looking for you, there comes a moment in the journey when life begins to find you. You no longer need to run after everything, because when you change your frequency, the how starts looking for you. And actions arise, not from effort, but from gentle invitations. Most people still act from urgency. They do things out of fear, scarcity, comparison. They create, launch, speak, hustle, but all from an anxious vibration. And then they get frustrated because the outcome doesn't resonate. He's lived through that cycle, recording videos, launching ideas, sending emails, but always with the fear of being late, as if life was slipping away. And of course, the field responded with more pressure and rushing. The shift came when he started acting from a different place, a quieter place, a more confident place, as if everything was already aligned and he was just listening for the next steps. It happened on an ordinary day, when he felt a sudden urge to record a video that wasn't even planned. He followed the impulse without overthinking, recorded in peace, edited with ease, and that video opened a whole new timeline. Inspired action doesn't shout, it whispers. It's that idea that shows up in the shower, that name that pops into your head, that desire to go somewhere you almost said no to. He remembers feeling called to take a trip. Everything seemed bad timing, but something inside said go. And on that trip, he met people who transformed his projects, all because he acted, not with logic, but with alignment. The key here is, the frequency comes before the step. When you're tuned into the elevated version of yourself, actions that match that frequency begin to show up. You don't have to chase ideas, they find you. Think again of the radio metaphor. When you turn the dial and tune into station 102.3, you don't have to invent the songs. They're already there. You just need to be on the right channel. Most of the biggest shifts in his life didn't come from grand plans. They came from small impulses followed with faith, a post, a conversation, a click. But they came from a state of coherence with who he already was inside. And that's the point. Act like someone who already is. Respond to invitations that align with your new version, even if it feels small, irrelevant, quiet, because that's how the new path begins. Here's a practice for you. In the next 7 days, when you feel a gentle nudge, an inner pull, a desire that resonates with your future, follow it, even if just for 10 minutes. That kind of consistency shifts destinies. Inspired action isn't about size, it's about coherence. It's the field saying, shall we? and you saying, yes, I'm ready, even without knowing the full path. And when that yes becomes your habit, life starts moving with you. Like a soft dance, you lead, it responds, and together you create the new, the one that was already ready to be born. And now we need to learn the ladder method, quantum shifting without overwhelming your system. Not every transformation needs to come with fireworks. Sometimes the deepest change happens in silence, one step at a time, because the nervous system isn't convinced by promises. It calms down with subtle proof that the new is safe. The biggest mistake people make when discovering the quantum field is trying to jump from the ground straight to the top of the tower. They want to leap from scarcity to radical abundance, from chaos to nirvana, from fear to enlightenment. And when they can't, they think they've failed. He's been there. He wanted to change his life so badly that he set impossible goals. They looked beautiful on paper, but deep down, they only created anxiety, because his body didn't believe in them. That's when he learned to climb stairs. Instead of trying to fly without wings, he turned his 10K per month goal into 3K, then into 5K. And the most curious thing? Reality began to respond. The secret isn't to shrink the dream, it's to break the path into believable steps. The field welcomes big dreams, but it only truly responds when the body's frequency believes it's possible. Think of a ladder. The top exists, it's there. But if you try to skip 3 floors at once, you hurt your knees, lose your breath, and give up. The body needs rhythm, coherence, and support. The ladder method is about calibrating your vibration. It asks, what's the next step my system can accept right now? Maybe it's not full wealth yet, but it's getting out of survival mode. Maybe it's not soul-deep love yet, but it's honoring yourself in relationships. He remembers a goal that looked amazing. I want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, meditate, train, record, create. Day 1 worked. Day 2, crash. His system wasn't ready, so he broke it down into real steps. Then it flowed. You don't need to live the entire new timeline right now. You just need to live one piece of it, truthfully. The universe doesn't need grandeur. It needs energetic consistency, and the body needs to feel included in the change. If something feels too good to be true, it's not your fault. It's your system saying, can we go slow? And the role of the conscious creator is to honor that without losing the final destination. There's no point in telling the universe, give me everything at once, if your body still panics at the thought of it. It's far more powerful to say, show me the next possible step, and I promise to walk it with presence. That kind of humility opens portals. And when you begin to climb one step at a time, the top stops feeling unreachable, because now it has ground to stand on, and the body begins to collaborate, not sabotage. And finally, we arrive at consistency and self-authority, holding the frame of the new you. The universe responds to your dominant vibration, but most people vibrate one thing in the morning, something else by noon, and return to fear by night. Manifestation doesn't happen at the peak, it happens in the consistency. Being your new self for one day is easy. For a week it feels exciting, but being your new self even when the mirror reflects the old, that's true power. That's when reality begins to bend. He remembers when he used to make videos that no one watched. He spoke with love, gave his all, but the views were low and the comments were rare. There were days he thought, what's the point in continuing? But inside him, the answer was always the same, because I already am. That I already am sustained everything, even with no results, no proof, no applause, because he wasn't doing it for validation. He was being it from conviction, and that energy is more powerful than any strategy. In the beginning, many people laughed, friends, relatives, colleagues, some with sarcasm, others with concern. But he knew no one can understand a vision that wasn't given to them. So he kept going, with silent faith. This is the power of self-authority, to stop waiting for your father, mother, guru, audience, or the algorithm to validate your identity. It's about becoming the source, the anchor, the root that holds the field in place. Being consistent doesn't mean being perfect. It means continuing to vibrate in that timeline, even when everything feels slow, even when nothing outside is changing, because inside, you've already decided. Imagine holding up an invisible frame. Reality tries to push it, mock it, distort it, but you hold it firmly, saying, "This is the image I'm anchoring." And the more you hold it, the more that image becomes solid. He experienced this with money, with spirituality, with love. He sustained the new version of himself, even when his bank account said otherwise, even when no one believed, even when everything seemed stuck. And little by little, the world began to yield. The field tests your dominant frequency, not your momentary excitement. That's why the secret isn't force, it's aligned repetition. It's being the new you, until the old version gets tired of trying to come back. Here's a powerful question for those who made it this far. What are you committed to becoming, even if no one applauds for the next 6 months? Who do you choose to be when no one is watching? That silent commitment changes destinies. Holding your new identity without an audience is one of the greatest acts of spiritual maturity. It's telling the universe, I don't need an external sign anymore because I've already received the internal call. He realized that at its core, reality only tests one thing: your ability to stay, to hold the frame, to choose who you are, even in the middle of the storm. And when you pass through this phase, something magical happens. The field stops testing and begins responding, because now it knows you can hold what you asked for. This is the closing of the vibrational trilogy: choosing at the identity level, acting from the right frequency, and sustaining with consistency until collapse happens. With this, you don't just change realities, you shift dimensions. And now that you've walked through every layer of this journey, let me ask you with honesty, what part of your life is still collapsing a reality that no longer represents you? Are you still trying to change the world without first changing the observer? Are you waiting for a sign from the universe, without realizing the real sign is the discomfort you feel when you live below your true frequency? Maybe today is the moment to stop asking for the new and start living as if it's already here. It's not about waiting for circumstances to shift. It's about changing the center from which you observe it all. Reality is malleable, but it only bends for those who hold the frame of the new. So tell me in the comments, what was the deepest insight this video gave you? Which part moved your frequency? What are you choosing to shift, starting today? Your sharing might be the vibrational mirror another soul was meant to find. So write it down. Leave your frequency imprinted below. And if this video brought you clarity, awakening, or even that silence that heals from within, leave a like, turn on the bell, and subscribe to the channel. Because every week we go deeper into this invisible field to remember that reality doesn't shift with force, it shifts with frequency.